It is Banlist prediction time. This is not a wish list. This is what I believe. Based off of the history of Banlist, what will Konami be banning or limiting or even unlimiting?
There can only be one winner, and you're looking at him. Let's go.
The last ban list was September 27th, 2020. This is what happened. You could see right there. Not going to go through it again. Now, why am I predicting a ban list? Because usually, / always, chat's not sure, maybe you could correct us. A ban list is after a KC Cup, and a KC Cup is happening right now. Expect a ban list after the KC Cup, maybe or always. Okay? Let's talk about it. There are 3 metrics I like to look at when predicting a ban list in my own free time for fun. This is basically my first real big ban list prediction video. If you like this, we'll do more of this. I look at the tier list. I look at the most popular cards / decks on DLM. And then I also look at the most popular cards in game. So this is the tier list. Crystron, Karakuri, Combo Shiranui, Control Shiranui, Invoke Magician Girls, and Blackwings. Here's a little snapshot of the most popular decks. You could see decks that are not on the tier list, like Blue Eyes, Ritual Beast, Lunalight Goki, Dragoonity. You could consider them to be in a good spot where they don't really need a buff or a nerf. They're popular enough, they're good. And then here are the most popular cards being used, even with Cyclone being hit. It's at 3 and it's still doing well. And then in-game. In-game, you have a deck like Dark Magician where it's not really the most popular in tournaments, but it's very popular on the ladder, I believe mostly for roleplay purposes, and this extends the list. Now, why would DLM's popularity be more relevant than the in-game one? In-game is using Platinum and King of Game duels, which are not competitive, and the competitiveness of Legend rank decays over time. This is updated every 24 hours. Our popularity is updated every minute. It is the last 3 weeks of tournament-topping decks and decks reaching King of Games. So if this is updating every 24 hours and more people are reaching King of Games than not trying at King of Games, and there's lesser players that are not as good within Legend and or reaching Platinum and playing at Platinum, this is basically getting worse every single day. It's only most relevant, I believe, at the start of the month. Konami normally uses KC Cup results for the majority of a ban list, and the DLM stats are much more predictive of what will actually do well in a KC Cup, which historically has been accurate in the KC Cup, not in-game stats. So the tier list and popularity on DLM, that's gonna be what's mostly in line for what is expected to do well in the KC Cup, and based off of that, we're going to be predicting the ban list. Also, Konami tends to limit / ban anti-fun or fun. You decide what you think is anti-fun or fun. And Star Blast is a good example of that. This was a very fun card. They nuked it and the skills it was being used with. Not top tier, not abusing the KC Cup really. Then Cyberstein, another. This is really anti-fun. If you think this is fun, tell me in the comments so I know to ban you. Not top tier, sometimes annoying in the KC Cup. Yeah, not cool. So, what did they accomplish in the last ban list? Konami mindset. Let's try to get in the mind of Konami. It's the first time they ever banned a card. That's crazy. They never did before. It's the first time they had a deck with 3 semi-limits. If you look at Blackwings, they have their Tuner, their Synchro, and their Trap semi-limited. And if a card is semi-limited, you can only play 2 among all of those cards. So it is impossible to play all 3. That's never happened. That's insane. And they like to hit techable cards that are making decks top tier, like Charge of Light Brigade, Neos Fusion. And they did try their best to hit Ellie Saber, Neos, Invoked. Those all got hit. So this is what the ban list looked like, or I should say the stats looked like before the previous ban list. As you can see here, there's a trend. Konami pretty much hit the top 4 to top 5 decks. So the top 4 decks here were Invoked, Neos, Witchcrafter, Karakuri, and Blackwings. And then right here, it is top 5. Invoked, Neos, Karakuri, Witchcrafter, Blackwings, and Elman Saber. All of those decks did get hit. And if we look at another breakdown, Neos, Karakuri, Witchcrafter, Blackwings, Elman Saber, they all got hit. So going off of that, we're going to predict what is going to get hit. So based off of recent stats of the recent tournaments, we came to the conclusion that the top 4 decks that will get hit are Karkuri, Shiranui in general, whether it's combo or control, Kristrons, and Invoked, whether it's played with the girls, the heroes, the roids, Invoked. So those are the 4. Also, there are non-top tier considerations, like the Spore combo, we'll talk about that. Defense Charge, they have nerfed the Fox before, so this would be in line with that. Bamboo Scrapping nerfed. This is a card I believe they forgot. They nerfed another token card that no one was really using. Also, on nerf / on limit / buff considerations. Here are some ideas. We do go into more. Now let's get into it. Karakuri, the number 1 card prediction. We are predicting that the Merchant's going to go to 2, and the Nanishi is going to become unlimited. The reasoning is similar to Rod going to 2. The Merchant's very powerful. It's a 1-card synchro. You get to search the Kunam Zan, you get to pop off like that. Now, if you unlimit the Nanishi and the Karakuri Cash, they could still search and set up for a Merchant. So it's not that devastating, but it does stop this devastating top deck, this devastating opener from being as consistent as it is. They usually don't touch really new super rare / ultra rare cards, so a card like Kunam Zan, I feel it's safe. Now, Shiranui, in general, I believe Spectral Sword's going to go to 2, and Sun Saga's going to go to 2, and Squire's going to become unlimited, possibly even limited at 3. I don't think so, though. I think that's too soon, maybe. People are afraid that's going to be played with Invoker, okay? Now, what this does is, and why I believe they're going to do this, reasoning. From my experience in TCG, if a deck has a large pool of great cards, but it's only using a few of them, Konami tends to nerf that deck to force you to use the other good cards. And we all know how Control Shiranui is played. Control Shiranui, they're basically just using 3 Shiranuis. There's so many other great Shiranuis. They're not playing the Shade, really. They're not playing the Samurai. They're not playing Spirit Master. They're just using these 3. And the Squire and Solitaire are directly tied to the Spectral Sword. So if they force Shiranui to only play 1 Spectral Sword and 1 Sun Saga, it basically dismantles the Control version of Shiranui. As we say that, the Control Shiranui is effectively ignoring so many great Shiranui cards. It'll force them to all play Combo Shiranui. More of the Shiranui cards. No longer optional to play the Shade Tuner. Now, Konami likes money. And you will now need to have more Shiranui cards to play the deck. For example, a lot of people have been skipping out on playing Squire Saga, which is an ultra rare. You're going to have to play that now if they nerf the Spectral Sword. So that's more money in Konami's pocket to continue to play the deck. And also, this will help sell DD Crow. DD Crow, now you could crow the 1 Spectral Sword that they play. Banish that 1 Spectral Sword, and then it's a GG. But now that they're forced to play Shade, Shade could resummon the Spectral Sword. So it creates a situation where DD Crow becomes good, but then they also have some counterplay. It creates some cool interactions. People will complain less about Shiranui because they won't play as much back row as they're forced to play more Shiranui. So I think that will be the change that they're going to go for. Kristrons. Now, I believe Impact is going to, well, we didn't get to that yet. Impact is being played this much. And because it's being played at 2 at 47%, I think they semi-limited the wrong card. What does that mean? That means that if they semi-limit 2 cards in a deck, I believe Konami wants you to not have a choice. I think they want you to have to play 1 of each. And if they hit 1 of each, and you're playing 2 and 0 of the other, they're gonna refocus their semi-limit to not really give you a choice. So I believe Rion is going to go to unlimited because 47% is being played at 0. That's what makes up that right there. So what are we going to do also? Citri to 2 with Impact. So you'll only be able to play 1 Citri, 1 Impact. Now, maybe, I don't even really think this. I do think that Citri and Impact will be semi-limited, but maybe instead of the Impact staying semi-limited, they can go unlimited and just limit the Amatrix. So you play 1 Amatrix, 1 Citri. Now, what's the reason for this? Konami once said, we are nerfing spellbooks because it's not fun to play against. Replace spellbooks with Crystron. Effectively, they are saying an unpopular deck was not fun to play against. No matter how good Crystrons are, they're never going to be the most played in-game on the regular in-game stats. It's not going to happen. but they will be played. They will be top tier in tournaments and in KC Cup events and at World Champions and all that other stuff. The competitive side of Duel Links, it will be played. But the casual side, this deck will never be most played. But people, they hate to play against it. People surrender as soon as they know you're playing Crystron. Some people. It reminds me of Spellbooks. That's pretty much the only deck I could play right now. Go on the ladder, I activate Sulfaneer, and I will. Out of 10 duels, at least someone will surrender just by seeing Sulfaneer. It will reduce the time played against the deck if they only have one Citry instead of going through all the Citries continually synchroing. So it does make the deck faster. It's a slow deck. It takes a long time to duel, so this will reduce the time dueling against the deck. Invoked roids, heroes, girls, anything. Now, some suggestions from the chat were Purgatrio to 3, Invoker to 2, Invocation to 3. That was the suggestions from the chat. Now, my simple prediction, I'm kind of two-part predicting what they could do with Invocation because I'm going to get into it. I believe they really messed up. They blew it with making Invocation. I'll just show it to you right now. Invocation, Purgatrio, and Invoker. All three of these cards being ultra rare. That's a huge mistake because when have they ever made someone lose an ultra rare from a ban list? They never have done that yet, as far as we know. So they backed themselves up into a corner. So a simple prediction could be, if you put Invocation to 3, with Invoker at 3, it's going to force you to play 2 Invoker and 1 Invocation. The problem with this, it will be unprecedented because that is effectively forcing you to play 1 less of an ultra rare that you definitely have 3 of. But I do think it would be a good change. It makes it so DD Crow will be further promoted as a card to use. As you crow the 1 Invocation, they're done. They're done. You banish that 1 Invocation. You could even Cosmic Cyclone the Invocation, GG. Maybe this is too harsh. This is similar to the Sanctified Dark Lord and the Contact. If they get Cosmic Cycloned, that they would lose. That's why Dark Lords had to never set their Sanctified Dark Lord. They had to just send it to the grave. But they don't have that luxury with the Contact. They had to sooner or later activate the Contact, and they lose a Cosmic Cyclone. So that's something that they might want to have set up. So this would not be the first time Konami forces you to play 1 of a powerful spell/trap trap that could be Cosmic Cycloned. As I said, Konami backed themselves into a corner by having 3 cards be ultra rare. Big mistake. When have they ever made you lose an ultra rare from a ban list? Big problem. So how do we protect the sacred ultra rare trio? How do we protect them? How do we make it so you that owns 3 Purgatrio and 3 Invoker, that you're not going to be pissed? Well, this is an option. Cocytus to 3. Invoked Earth to 3. Invocation to 2. So you could still play your 3 Invoker, 3 Purgatrio, and 2 Invocation. Oh, Dkayed, that's crazy, no way. Well, not only does it not touch the ultra rares, but a first place Invoked Neos deck did not play Cocytus, did not play Earth. A top tier deck back in the day, a couple months ago, was already not playing these. Okay? They were just playing this package without the Cocytus and Invoked Earth. And then we put the Invocation at 2. This is a reasonable nerf, which may not be enough. So I'm worried that this is too much and that this is not enough. We'll see what Konami does. But either one of those 2 nerfs I do predict happening. And if we don't do this, refer to Invocation at 3, which does hit AUR. Now that's it for the top tier nerfs, but that does not stop what Konami could do to continue to nerf cards and change the game. Non-top tier considerations is the Spore combo. It's not top tier, but it's a very powerful combo. They have nerfed other combos back in the day, like Star Blast and Cyberstein. This might be similar to something that might meet the criteria to nerf. What does Spore do? Spore plus what grows in the graveyard, which means it's just a 1-card combo. It does take up cards in your main deck and your extra deck to perform the combo, though. You can make a level 6 Synchro into a level 9 Synchro, which could be Coral Dragon and Vermilion. That's 2 pops and a draw. You could make a full rank 3 Exceed monster. Or you could 1-card make an instant Fortune Lady, every or any Synchro. That's a big deal. So here are those combos just to quickly show you. You're new to this? Here we go. Spore, trigger the effect of Verger. This is going to synchro into a Goyo Defender. Goyo Defender will be activating to summon another Goyo Defender. Then you could Spore, banish the Verger to summon Spore onto the field, and then the Spore is going to be level 3. So this is where you could use the Spore and the Defender to make a Coral Dragon, which could then pop a card in the field. Then you could Synchro, you have to discard to do it. Then you could Synchro into Vermilion, pop another card in the field. You also draw with the Coral Dragon. So that's one way to do the combo. So let's go back to this, where we didn't go for Coral. The other combo is you put the Goyo Defenders on top of each other, you make a Zenmaity. Zenmaity, detach a Goyo Defender. You could summon a Wind-Up Magician, and then you get to make a Fortune Lady Every. This is a 1-card combo. Fortune Lady Every, which is 28/28. Or you could, instead of summoning a Wind-Up Magician, with the level 3 Spore, you could summon a Wind-Up Shark. And with Shark, we could make a level 7. We could make a level 6. We could make a level 8 by changing Shark's level. Could change it to 5 and then make a level 8. Okay? So this is a 1-card combo of what the Spore could do. So suggestions to the nerf. The chat was suggesting nerf the skill, nerf to Goyo Defender. Konami was hesitant. They were scared to give us a 3rd Goyo Defender, which summons a Goyo Defender from the extra deck, which is going to be abused with Exceeds. And that day finally came. We're abusing it with Exceeds. We never really used it otherwise, besides in some meme decks. How often does this mistake happen? The mistake of being a free card that quickly needs to be limited? Well, it happened with Kiteroid. It happened with Star Blast. Kiteroid doesn't even exist in the TCG, by the way. Goyo Defender to 1 is not my proposal, not my wish list. It's what I think they will do. Some people are upset about that. The chat wants Spore to 2 and Goyo to 2, but I think that they'll put Goyo Defender to 1. Prediction, not a wish list. Necro Valley. I believe it was unintentional to search this card because Duel Links is different than TCG. Duel Links, you could start the duel with a field spell in the field, which means you could summon an Ancient Fairy Dragon to search the Necro Valley. Well, Ancient Fairy to 2 will make it so top-tier decks that generally get semi-limited, any future deck that could easily make a level 7 Synchro, or Blackwings right now, will lose access to a Necro Valley search. Top-tier Blackwing search in Necro Valley is totally not cool. This does not kill Blackwings, it just removes a degenerate strategy that should just not be in the deck. If you want to use this strategy, you should be a meme deck. You shouldn't be a top-tier deck. It's kind of like Grass Seeds Greener, where their only option was to ban the card because a deck like Witchcrafters started abusing it. Only the meme deck should have access to combos like this, not top tier. Now we're talking about Defense Charge, which is mistranslated in just English. I'm told in German it's correctly translated. I don't know where Konami's priorities are, but it says that after every turn, if you activate the skill, you gain plus 100 defense times the turn. It's not doing that. It's giving you 200 defense, and that means by turn 3, you are performing a 1-turn kill with Super Heavy Samurai. Super Heavy Samurai is 1-turn killing. I'm sure you've lost to this before. Now, they did nerf Fox OTK, which was not top tier. I think they'll nerf this. So not correctly translated. I think the change will be boost by just 100 defense, and that's it. No longer giving times 200 per turn. Bamboo Scrap. This card was released in 2016. I think Konami just forgot about it. It could be abused in aromas. They nerfed another token card that no one was really using. I think they'll just put this to 1. Again, not a wish list. I'm not hoping for this. I just think it's something they'll do. They'll be reminded of after I release a video at this, if I haven't already, that they should put this card to 1 because it's a lot of fun to use and abuse, but not fun to play against. It prevents exceeding and synchroing, which is why they nerfed the other token card, which was Revival Gift, I believe. It's time to unnerf, unlimit, and or buff. These are predictions. Now, I do think it is crazy to try to convince you that I believe all of these will happen. So be fair to me that I'm not predicting that all of these will happen. I'm predicting that if Konami decides to unnerf or unban any of these deck types, that this is how they will do it. So don't get excited. I'm not predicting that they're going to do this to everyone at the same time, just that if they do, this is how they will do it. So with Fur Hire, I believe that the Dyna will go to 2, and then they might unlimit it later if it proves to not be a problem, and I believe the Dampa will be unlimited. That is my prediction with Fur Hire. With Cyber Angels, I believe that Dkayed will become unlimited, and Machine Angel Ritual will continue to be at 2, which could be abused by Witchcrafters and other decks that play light monsters, so that's going to be my prediction for Cyber Angel. Dark Lords, do not make them full power. Chill. Ixchel, unlimited. Hashtag free Ixchel prediction, not a wish list. And then they're going to put the Sanctified Dark Lord at 2, with Contact at 2, so you can only play 1 and 1, but 3 Ixchel. DD Crow will crush the deck. Don't worry. Don't freak out. I know they could play around Cyclone by just dumping their Contact and dumping their Sanctified Dark Lord, but if the deck's going to auto-lose to a DD Crow, and DD Crow will also be good against Shiranui and or other decks, DD Crow just might become a main deck card, and I'm not trying to push DD Crow onto you. It's a prediction that Konami's going to try to sell a recent card they released to the game by being okay with this now. If players have access to DD Crow, then this will be okay, is how Konami could be thinking. An Inferni deck went undefeated in yesterday's tournament until top 32. They lost to a single Karma Cut. What does that mean? I believe Konami's okay with power that could be hard countered by one event happening, like being Karma Cut or DD Crowed or Cycloned. I think they're totally okay with that. That's why I believe they're okay with a card that I'm not okay with, which is C Stealth Attack. A lot of people are not happy about C Stealth Attack, but it does lose to a single Cosmic Cyclone. So when you go, "Wah, Dark Lord's too good," the response will be, just Cyclone DD Crow them once, and you're fine. The incentive is also that Ixchel is a box super rare. Konami likes money. You're probably upset that a card that you have 3 of, that you spent money on, is limited to 2. Now they could unlimit it. You'll maybe come back to the game, or while you're already playing, be happier with your Dark Lord deck that you could revisit. They do prefer to not nerf box super rares and ultra rare cards. They only do it if they feel forced to. So if they have the option, unlimit when they can in the future, which is now. Rose Lover. Anti-traps. Everyone generally complains about traps. This will help against traps, making you immune to traps for your plant. It's not broken. It's not crazy. It's just a cool little card they could unlimit. Bring back Sylvans a little bit. They're not going to be a top tier deck, I don't think so, but this will possibly make a new competitive King of Game quality worthy deck. Amazons. This could be a bit controversial. Now, listen, not trying to prove that I'm unbiased by doing this, is just what I predict will happen if they untouch Amazons. Don't touch the lollies, by the way. I don't like cards like Onslaught. I don't like cards like C Stealth Attack, as I just said. But I'm still predicting that they will semi-limit the Onslaught. Why do I not like cards like this? I don't like continuous spell and traps that basically say your opponent loses unless they directly play a card that counters that card. Not play around, not have different interactions, but specifically counter that one card that's saying your opponent loses. And that's what Onslaught does, similarly to C Stealth Attack, as you continually banish your opponent's monsters. Now, Swordswoman, unlimited. What? Yes. I believe Swordswoman was nerfed mostly because of the pre-nerf Lava Golem, which was burning for 1,000. That's the kind of decks that this was being abused in. So a little bit of design philosophy. I'm not a designer myself, but sometimes it's good to create a common enemy for all of you to come together and hate on, like a burn deck. So even though this might buff up the burn decks, as long as it's not super top tier and everywhere, but just a little bit out there where someone who wants to feel like a villain gets to play it, then we all get to come together and hate on them, that could be a good thing for some games, if it is correctly balanced, that is. If you all hate on Cancer together, you all come together. Remember, 2 big things happened recently that's anti-Cancer. Lava Golem got nerfed, Shadow Game got nerfed, so it could possibly be okay to bring back the Swordswoman Unlimited, which will also be played in the Amazons and also be played in Cancer decks. Witchcrafter, is it worthy of unnerfing? If I was Konami, I may be concerned with players that recently spent some good money on Witchcrafters. And we, as Konami, maybe we went a bit overboard on the new top tier deck being nerfed. I mean, we're looking at the tier list right now. A lot of these decks are really old. You know, Car Curry, we did receive Kunam Zan, to be fair, within 2020. Otherwise, this is some old stuff. And Witchcrafter was supposed to be a new top tier deck. Maybe we made a small mistake. And I believe we, as Konami, will put Holiday to Unlimited. And then put Masterpiece to 2 with Charge at 2. That could be a way that they will play the deck. Let's move on. Neos unnerfing? What? Well, out of nowhere, the Keeper went to 2, while Neos Fusion has been at 2 for a while. This is upsetting because 2 different structure decks to obtain these cards. You possibly wasted money on 4 extra structure deck purchases to get 3 of each. And then you lost only 1 structure deck because then the Neos Fusion was to 2. Then you lost 4 extra decks because then the Keeper went to 2. That's crazy. So constantly in design, you have to choose the lesser of 2 evils. You can't make everyone happy. Did this make more people unhappy than happy? Is the biggest question with changes like this. So maybe they went overboard. Maybe a lot of you are more upset than happy that this happened, losing 4 structure deck purchases, possibly. So I believe they could limit to 3. This is not unlimited. Limit to 3. Here are limited to 3 cards so far. And we're going to keep the Fox staying mad at 2, okay? Can't use Fox, the Neos Fusion. Leave as is. And I think that this is a change that they could do. Ritual Beast. Now, quote me on this. I believe this will happen. I know this is controversial. I know this is crazy. Remain at 2. That's what's going to happen. You'll see. Dark Magician. The problem with Dark Magician is their core combo is degenerate. Instead, I predict that Konami will simply release new Dark Magician support to make the deck better, instead of re-promoting that degenerate strategy of circle, navigate, GG, you lose. So I think Rod will remain at 2. Here's some future support cards. In addition to that, Dark Magician is the best position deck to make a rank 7 exceed. Konami, just give us some rank 7 exceeds. You don't need to depend on circle, navigates, okay? Rank 7 exceeds is where it's at, or more support. Now Cyber Dragon. Cyber Dragon, similar to Dark Magician, I believe they have a degenerate strategy of wiping your field in your end phase, then attacking for game. Similar to Dark Magician, banishing, then negating, then going for game. We have Cyber Dragon support cards, not released Cyber Dragon cards. There's 13 of them. I'm not familiar with them. Maybe you are. You tell me what could make Cyber Dragons a good deck again. You tell me. 6 AM will soon. I'm predicting this will receive the Shadow of the 6 Samurai Shien before the deck gets unlimited/unnerfed. So if I were to quickly check on 6 Samurai, what is nerfed right now, because this used to be a tier 0 deck, 6 Samurai right here, semi-limited, and also we have the Dojo. Let's sort by popularity of what's actually being used. And just like that, Dojo to 2, Anishi to 2. I think they're going to leave them at 2 and just give us the Shien Shadow 6 Samurai as an exceed, which could be used with Dual Wield, United, Dojo, etc. Then they'll go from there and maybe unnerf from there. Now, again, I'm repeating this so many times. The ban list prediction is just that. It's a prediction, not a wish list. The chat is wishing and hoping that Floodgate goes to 3, which is a wish list from the chat. I do not predict it. Sorry, not sorry, XOXO. But you know what? As a company that likes to make money, which Konami is, if you all are putting Floodgate to 3 on your wish list, right? You tell me in the comments. You want this at 3? That's feedback for Konami. And if they have overwhelming feedback that Floodgate should go to 3, maybe they would put it at 3. You tell me. But before you wish for that, be careful what you wish for. If you hate cards like Cocytus, Cocytus can get floodgated, while your other cards, your other popular trap cards, cannot target the Cocytus. Also, you might dislike Saber Dancer, which cannot be targeted by most of your trap cards, and Floodgate does deal with these cards. So, Floodgate, is it a necessary evil? You tell me. That's my ban list prediction, not a wish list. Hope you enjoyed. Fools!